Streaming all across the country, from Washington State to South Beach and the Northeast to the deserts of Arizona, to dive into all things football. You're listening to the B&E Podcast. Here's your hosts, Ed Donaldson and Brandon Simpson.
Man, this was a crazy Wildcard weekend, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Breaking and Entering Podcast. We have 4 games that pretty much went down to the line, either ended in 4 or 3 points. Crazy games. And we had 2 other games that was okay, but we're going to get into it, man. Brandon, how we doing today, sir?
All right, man. My Ravens had a press conference earlier today. Owner and GM that we're gonna briefly talk about later as well. Got a little clarity on the whole Harbaugh situation and what the future holds and all that kind of stuff. But how about you? How you doing?
I'm doing good. It was a good weekend of playoff football, barring about 2 games, I think, that weren't pretty good, but the rest went down to the wire or very entertaining, so I was happy to get into it. And we got some big news. Of course, you know about Mike Tomlin stepping down today. We definitely going to get into it, though, man. Let's get it going.
Sure. Speaking of that, in the opening drive, Mike Tomlin, after 19 years, he decided to step away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. John Harbaugh, he told Fox Sports earlier this week that he'll limit his interviews to only 3 or 4 teams. They did publicly announce that he interviewed with the Atlanta Falcons at some point within the last 5 days or so. Eagles fans, they're rejoicing today after learning their team has fired offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo. George Kittle, unfortunately, tore his Achilles against the Eagles. He'll sit the remainder of the playoffs. Bears linebacker TJ Edwards will miss the remainder of the playoffs as well with a broken fibula. And linebacker Ozzie Trapalo is dealing with a knee injury as well. Bills wide receiver Gabe Davis, he tore his ACL against Jacksonville. Jordan Poyer, he's out Sunday with a hamstring. Patriots cornerback Christian Gonzalez, he's in concussion protocol. The Chargers, they fired offensive coordinator Greg Roman and their offensive line coach as well. And Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison, he was arrested Monday for trespassing. It was his 3rd arrest since he was drafted in 2023. I know we're going to talk more about the Tomlin matter later, but Ed, any opening thoughts on? Any thoughts on the opening drive?
Yeah, man, Jordan Addison got to get it together. That's bonehead move worthy right there. Him getting arrested for trespassing. I think they were saying it was at like a casino or something too. A lot of stuff usually doesn't happen good late at night. I think it was late at night this happened too. So I don't know if he needs a change of scenery with a new team or something, because a couple more incidents like this, man, you might find your way out of the league, man. And then Jordan Poyer being out for the Bills and Gabe Davis going down, I wonder how that's going to affect the Bills. We talk about it more on Friday because they're taking on the Broncos. And, yeah, everybody I talked to that's an Eagles fan the last couple of days, they were hoping the OC got fired. So I'm sure they got their wish hearing about it today.
Yeah, I think Kevin Patullo getting let go saved him from having his house egged again. I think it was, just a couple months ago when it happened. It possibly could have been worse, toilet paper. He could have got kidnapped. You know, Eagles fans are crazy. So God only knows what they would have done. But you're right, they wanted him gone. And with Greg Roman, that was kind of the writing was on the wall there as well. I think if you're a team wanting to boost your run game, he's probably someone you want to have in mind. I know the Eagles do not want him, but to get back to that running game like they had a couple years ago, they may possibly consider him at least for an interview. But I know a lot of Eagles fans, I'm sure you've probably heard from possibly as well, want one Mike McDaniel, from Miami, the old head coach down there of the Dolphins. That's what they are looking at. So,
and real quick, speaking of the Chargers firing the old line coach, I'm like, damn, man, they 2 of their best linemen, Joe out and Rashawn Slater was out. I mean, damn. I guess somebody gotta bite the bullet though, kick the bucket. Jeez, tough business.
You're right. Very, very interesting move for the injuries that they had up front. Yeah, sure. All right, everyone. As Ed mentioned, 4 of the playoff games are really good. One of those, Rams, Panthers. The Rams advanced while the Panthers are now at home. Los Angeles ousted Carolina 34-31 in the wild card opener, Ed.
Yeah, I texted you. I thought there was a chance the Rams was going to go in there and whoop ass. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead in the second quarter. And then as the game went on, remember I said if the Panthers win this game, I'm going to fly out to Carolina, raise some hell. They're going to whoop my ass all the way back to California. I was scared, man. I had to get my itinerary ready because at the end of the game, the fucking Panthers was up 27-20 or 31-27. I'm like, and at this point, I'm rooting for the Panthers. I was like, oh, they, you know what? They got me, man. I mean, Bryce Young, he throwing for over 200 yards. They didn't really run the ball well, but my guy Hubbard, he did have 2 touchdowns. And then Jalen Coker probably had one of the best games of his career, seeing it go across the screen, 9 catches, 134 yards. They were doing everything they could to win this game. But in the end, Matt Stafford, he went out there, broke hearts, had that game-winning drive. I think it was about 70-plus yards at the end of the game. Threw that touchdown to Parkinson, placed the ball only where Parkinson, the tight end, can catch it, who made a great throw, great catch, great throw. And that was that, ladies and gentlemen. I got to give a lot of credit to the Panthers. I thought this game was going to be very easy because it looked like that going into the game. And then, like I said, they jumped out to a 14-0 league. I thought, the Panthers, Bryce Young going to start looking crazy again. But no, man, he stayed true, tried and true, and did his thing. Got him back in the game, actually got them the lead. Like I talked about Jalen Coker. I think Jalen Coker has overcame Xavier Legette as the number 2, because I think the wide receiver they drafted this year, McMillan, is going to be the true number 1 going forward. But Jalen Coker is definitely the guy who seems to be like the true, legit number 2. Don't get me wrong. I think Xavier Legette has a future with the Panthers, but I don't think he's that, guy. I think he's like a number 3 receiver at best at this point in his career. Maybe he can continue to grow, but right now, Jalen Coker has way more games, especially this year, where he just jumped on the scene and did his thing, and Bryce Young seemed to trust him because he was definitely getting after it. But I don't know what it is with the Rams and guys offending them. I feel like everybody knows Puka Nacua is like the main guy for the Rams, but it doesn't matter, man. This dude, at that first drive, he scored a touchdown. I'm like, damn, it's like they find ways to get him open so easy because he catching the ball and he got some space to make things happen. I'm just like, damn, does anybody read the scouting report or like what's going on? Because the Panthers got good cornerbacks. Mike Jackson, who had a pick in this game, J.C. Horn, he's pretty good as well. I'm just like, I don't know. Sean McVay and them boys, man, they definitely devising up a scheme where Puka Nacua does his thing out there. And they needed him because Devontae Adams was back. He had some big plays, but he was definitely looking a little rusty coming off that hamstring injury suffered in a regular season. So yeah, man, this was one of the I kind of want to say it's a wake-up call for the Rams, but they got a lot of veterans on their team, started with Matt Stafford. So I think this was a good kick in the butt for them going into next week and see how they do. But this is definitely a good start for the Rams to come back and win this game. I think that's a good chemistry builder going forward into the next round. So good win for the Rams. And the Panthers, I mean, I don't know, but we'll see how. I think the world is going to be ready for them next year as far as, they ain't going to be – I'm not saying people were taking it easy on or sleeping on, but they're going to be a little bit more prepared next year, I feel like. So we'll see if the Panthers can win the division again and things like that. But Brandon, what did you think about this game?
So despite your back and forth vendetta, I guess you could say, with the Panthers, you got to give hats off to them for exceeding expectations of winning that division, the NFC South, and making it to the playoffs. But to this game, overall, it was clear early on Puka Nacua was the best player on the field. His first 2 touchdowns with a right center crosser. The other one, the pass he caught in the flat, they counted as a rushing touchdown, but both were down there in the red area, big plays, finished with 10 for 111 and a touchdown, as well as 3 rushes for 14 yards and another touchdown. I'm going to give some credit to the Panthers special teams unit and their offense as well. Limited production standpoint on the ground, but Jalen Coker, as you mentioned, and Ted McMillan, they showed up big time. They kind of helped keep it close there in the end. Special teams veteran Isaiah Simmons, a huge 4-quarter block punt, which led to that go-ahead touchdown, but they left too much time on the clock, of course. the Rams came back and scored there at the end. Parkinson had a hell of a catch, excellent catch there at the end. Those tight ends that you mentioned a lot when you talk about the Rams, he was one of them, of course, made the play there. I will say this about the Rams. I'm a bit concerned about how the Panthers were able to throw the ball all over the yard. Um, Bryce Young, he really only had 264 yards passing, but there were several big passing plays that this Chris Shula defense gave up. So as you mentioned, that's something to watch for as well moving forward. They definitely need to clean things up if they want to move forward next week
Yeah,
into the
there's a guy
divisional
on our
round.
team named Emmanuel Forbes. He used to play for my Commanders. Y'all might be hearing his name a lot, not in a good way going forward, but we'll see. I don't know.
All right, everyone. Packers Bears Part 3 was nothing short of amazing Saturday night in the end. Chicago got the dub 31-27. Caleb is the first Bears quarterback to win a playoff game within his first two seasons since the year 1950, man. Denny Green said it best, man. The Bears are who we thought they were. Rest in peace, my guy, former Arizona Cardinals coach. I'll never forget that quote. We was in high school, man. This team is resilient. Am I the biggest Caleb Williams fan? No. Am I the biggest Ben Johnson fan? Definitely not. But again, this team finds ways to pull out W's after trailing in games. I believe that 7 come from behind wins for this Chicago team this season alone. Plus, of course, this one in the playoffs. Yes, Caleb, he turned the ball over twice, but two guys I think deserve a good amount of credit in this one more than others. DJ Moore and Colston Loveland. Another game-winning touchdown, DJ Moore against Green Bay. He just has their number. Um, my lord, man. Colston Loveland, man, had the best tight end performance that I saw live this season since Tucker Craft, week 2, sorry, Ed, against your
Oh God.
Commanders. And he was all over the place, man. Every time you turn around, the ball was going in his direction. He was catching, man. Um, my guy Jordan Love, um, tough break for him, man. I think the only thing he could have done better was on that final play was to find a way to score. I mean, 4 touchdowns through the air, 300 yards passing plus just wasn't enough. His defense let him down. This defense has definitely taken a step back since the loss of Michael Parsons, and definitely the last 2 games, of course, were the last 2 matchups against the Bears, man. Not only did Chicago erase an 18-point deficit, they also put up 25 points in the fourth quarter. Not good for this Green Bay Packers team. Of course, what's done is done. They're gone now. But yeah, kudos to the Bears for taking this one. Because for several years, man, I've said it, Aaron Rodgers is the owner of the Jets from the time when he was, the owner of the Bears from the time when he was with the Green Bay Packers, man, and the tide has kind of flipped the last couple years. Chicago's now won 3 of the last 5 games against Green Bay. They're now advanced to the NFC divisional round, while the Green Bay Packers are at home. Ed.
Another player that let the Packers down is Brandon McManus. It's a
Yeah,
bad time to get the yips in the damn playoffs, man. He missed 2 field goals and an extra point. After he missed that field goal at the end of the half, is like he lost all confidence in himself. I think that was a huge reason they lost the game. Those 6 points he left off the board and the extra point, man, just changed the dynamic of the game around. But let me get on this. Ben Johnson and LaFleur. I
yeah,
think I don't want to say they hate each other, but they definitely do not like each other. You saw at the end of the game. I mean,
yep,
they basically slapped hands. They ain't really like did a good handshake with a grip or anything. They touched skins, and then Ben Johnson kept it moving. And then we
yep,
see in the locker room, he's like, "Fuck the Packers, man! Yeah, yeah." So I
yep,
know he was that hyped up for that win. You talk about in the past how they definitely love to get wins over each other. So definitely the rivalry from between the Packers and the Bears is super strong. This probably renewed it, ignited even more. Caleb Williams, like you said, man, he has some plays that just like, what's going on here? Like sometimes a person be wide open, he'll throw it like 5 yards over his head. Then they'll have a play where it's a 4th and 8, where the game is pretty much on the line at that point, and he just delivers a strike on a
yeah.
run, perfect ball. It's like, dang, you see it. If Ben Johnson can just polish him up a little bit more, I mean, I don't know, man, because physically, this dude has the arm and he's fast as hell. When he takes off and run, you see his acceleration. He's just running away from people. I mean, he's running away from not just defensive linemen, he's running away from linebackers and secondary guys. This dude got some wheels on him, man. He's definitely a freak of nature when it comes to the physical side of the ball. Just got to give it together mentally, and the sky is honestly the limit for him. Like you said, these 2 turnovers he's had is real 50-50 with him sometimes. If he can like get it more under control, it's definitely danger waiting to happen. You talk about the weapons he got, man. Loving the rookie tight end, go blue, baby. Michigan tight end coming out of Michigan. I mean, 8 catches, 137 yards. I mean, I forgot. They said this is the best rookie tight end performance since forgot the gentleman's name, but man, he played big. And then it's crazy, man. The Packers were up in this game, what, like 21-3 or something? And then, like you said, the defense let them down. The kicker let them down. A lot of people want to blame Jordan Love. I mean, it's hard for me to put a lot of the blame on Jordan Love. Like you mentioned, he had 4 touchdowns. He could have, like you said, gave him a better chance at the end of the game. But all in all, I think he did a good job. The Bears pretty much shut down Josh Jacobs, who only had 55 yards rushing. He didn't really do a lot, and I was surprised by that because he was dealing with a bone bruise in the end of the season. Like those last 6 weeks, they kind of managed his snaps a little bit. They gave Emmanuel Wilson more carries and things like that. So I thought he would come in this game a little bit more fresh, but it didn't seem to be the case. The Bears were able to keep him under the control. And then DeAndre Swift, he didn't really do too much as well. He did score a touchdown for the Bears, but he didn't really gash and dash him like he did against my damn Commanders, like he always do. But he didn't really do a lot out there. But Caleb Williams, man, hats off to him. I'm leaning towards him on being sold on him, but he still has some plays that he does out there that's like kind of head scratching, like, I don't know, man, what's going on. But then, like I said, that 4th and 8 play, that was pretty much a game right there. If they didn't convert that 4th down, they probably would have lost that game. But hell of a throw, man. I mean, hell of a throw.
Yeah.
And the Bears were able to come back and win this game. So salute to the Bears, man. We'll see how they do next week. I think they got the Rams. So, yeah, salute to them. Great win for the Chicago Bears. All right, man, let's get to this Bills-Jaguars game. I said the Jaguars going to win this game, and then I don't want to make it seem like Trevor Lawrence's fault, but Trevor Lawrence pretty much happened, man. It's like the Bills defense had him confused a lot of times. He was throwing interceptions. He was looking lost a couple of times out there. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? But they did have a chance to win it. I mean, at the end of the game, they had a chance to drive down the field and score, but unfortunately, Trevor threw another interception. If I remember correctly, it wasn't like he threw it straight to the defender. I think the ball bounced off of somebody. Yeah. It might have been his player. And then the Bills defender picked it up and was able to get it in. If anybody remembers and notices, Josh Allen got banged up a lot in that game. He had like a twisted knee. He had to leave the game for a second because they had to check him for a concussion. He threw when he threw the ball one time, he banged his throwing hand off his own lineman's helmet. So I know his hand's a little sore right now. He got banged up in this game, if everybody remembers correctly. So going into this next game against the Broncos, I'm wondering how his health is going to be because he took a little beating in this game. But he still was able to put on a Superman cape, made some runs when he needed to, had some good throws when he needed to, and they were to come out and win this game against a pretty decent Jaguars defense, in my opinion. So shout out to Josh Allen. I honestly think right now I'm going to say I think they're going to come out the AFC. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a quarterback right now, especially when the game's on the line. He seems to be clutch. He seems to be ready to make plays when this happens, and he definitely did that against the Jaguars, man. Like you see across the screen, 11 carries for 33 yards. He had that one, like it was like a quarterback sneak when they were in the red zone, and they just kept pushing him until he got in the end zone, basically. I was like, damn, man, that's a battle of wills right there, man. It's demoralizing. Definitely did some things out there with that. That was kind of crazy to see. And then on the other side of the ball, shout out to Parker Washington. Trevor Lawrence wasn't completely bad in this game. He did throw 3 touchdowns. Parker Washington did his thing, but just wasn't enough. I think I texted you like Trevor Lawrence. What did I text you? I said, damn it, Trevor Lawrence, you fucking did something to me. I need to see exactly what I texted you because I was like, this motherfucker Trevor Lawrence, man. He's making me look like a damn clown. I think that's what I said to you.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, what are we doing out here, man? But he kind of improved his play. He kind of settled down and made some plays out there, but it just wasn't enough. When you play against teams like the Bills, any mistake they're going to capitalize on. You got to get them out. You got to beat them on the ground, keep beating them until the game is over with. And they just weren't able to do that. And the Bills, man, next week, we'll see what they do against the Broncos, but I like their chances. So salute to the Bills. Good win for them. What are your thoughts on this game, though, Brandon?
I agree. If they can get past the Broncos, I think they'll come out of the AFC for sure. I'm still, up in the air on that game. Of course, we'll talk about it on Friday for sure. But to this game, man, how did Trevor Lawrence go from looking like one of the best quarterbacks down the stretch, pretty much since their bye week, the second half of the season, to basically looking like ass on Sunday, man, against this Buffalo defense? You mentioned in the text that you showed me, I was in and out of this game. Outside of Parker Washington, maybe Travis Etienne, nobody really showed up for this Jacksonville offense. And then on the defensive side, they just had no answer for number 17. He and James Cook were the Buffalo run game on Sunday. Trevor started the game with an interception on their second drive and then finished the game with an interception on the final drive. You mentioned the guy that tipped off of that was Tre'Davious White, the longtime corner that stepped away for a year or two and just came back this past off season. Then you add the missed field goal by Cam Little right before half, probably the AFC's best kicker right now. Certainly didn't help the cause there in the end. Both of these offenses, though, played their best ball there in the fourth quarter. Again, it was Tre'Davious White that sealed the game there at the end, tipped it. Cole Bishop picked it off, and it was game over at that point. Man, I gotta show off the field after the game. Gotta shout out to the female reporter. I didn't get her name. You and I was texting about her, who made headlines for consoling Liam Cohen and telling him to keep his head up, remind him how good of a season they had and how well his team played all season long. In a business that it's usually a lot of heat between reporters and players, coaches, people in the front office and stuff like that. That was really special. And as a journalist myself, I've never interviewed a coach at the pro level. Obviously, I've done it in college for, just as part of practice, basically. These guys can definitely be fired up after games, especially after losses. So, to see him up there and he was smiling, he liked it, what I'm saying? Because you get a lot of those situations where reporters are asking you the hard questions like, for example, it could have been, why didn't Trevor Lawrence throw the ball to somebody else on that final play? Why couldn't y'all get the run game going a little bit more? This, and this. And she came out with that. And, as you mentioned, she was catching a lot of heat for that comment there. But hats off to her for being classy. And you could tell she was from the area because she mentioned, Duval County, the sense of pride that he's bought that town. And, I was one that said I didn't trust him heading into this year. After he got the Duval chat wrong the first time, I was like, I don't know about him. But from an offensive play calling standpoint, he had the resume. He had really did well things with Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield last year. So, yeah, hats off to Liam Cohen, who was probably one of the Coaching of the Year candidates, and hats off to that reporter as well.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everybody. Let's go into the NFC side again. The 49ers went into Philadelphia and broke some hearts. Glad to see it. Love to see it. Brandon, what are your thoughts on this game, man?
Yeah, man, I think we both talked about the lack of identity for this Eagles offense, and it was fully on display Sunday afternoon at the Link. I'm not going to talk much about this game. I'm going to let Ed talk about it, but a few points, man. One of my favorite shows on television is on TV is Survivor. It's a reality TV show. They take these people on the island. They have to compete in challenges, compete in tribe challenges to win a game. And when the sole survivor wins, they say that this person outlasted, and outplayed everyone. And that's what happened on Sunday, man. The 49ers went into Philadelphia in the Link in their house on the road, cross country, and went in there and outlasted, outplayed the Philadelphia Eagles, down several players. Fred Warner's been on IR, Nick Bosa. They had linebackers pretty much. I think they said they were down to their fifth, sixth, and seventh linebackers in this game. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? They lost George Kittle as well, and they came out of here with a win. But a couple of key points, man. AJ Brown, a diva, man. He's one of the highest paid receivers in football. Talked all that stuff early in the season when he was on his streaming game or whatever. Reading books on the sideline last season, always looking disgruntled. He gets in his coach's face during this game, and then you go out there and you have multiple drops. So what's the problem, man? You said you wanted the ball. They try to get the ball to you. I know one or two of those passes were a little iffy, like Jalen kind of overthrew one or two, but here you are, you know what I'm saying? You want to be that guy. You want to be the number one receiver, which you are, basically, and you go out there and play a performance like that in the biggest stage right now of this season. Kevin Patula, man, he got saved by the bell, honestly. I think this firing you don't want to see somebody lose his job, but this firing may have been good for him. As I mentioned, they probably was going to egg his house again. He could have honestly got kidnapped. They could have toilet papered his house. They could have done any damn thing to him because Eagles fans are rough up there. Vic Fangio, man, great defensive coordinator. Things happen, I know, but why were they not more prepared for the passing threat of Jawan Jennings? I know it was just one play, but it amounted to 6 points. He did it a few years ago in the Super Bowl. They call it the sky bang reverse pass, that touchdown throw he had there. And then, yeah, just claps for San Francisco at the end of the day. Banged up on the both sides of the ball, but again, found ways to score more points than Philadelphia and secured the win. Again, they're on the road cross country in the wild card round. Ed, your thoughts on this one?
Thank you, 49ers. Thank you, 49ers. Thank you, 49ers. Let's go, baby. Woo! Y'all don't know how happy I am to see the Eagles lose, man. I just absolutely enjoyed it. And I was surprised because when Kittle went down, I thought, oh, man, that just took the steam out of the game for the 49ers. But no, man, I think they rallied around it. We're going to win this game. I think they're saying we're going to play the rest of this playoffs for George Kittle, man. And salute to Shanahan, man. Everybody knows McCaffrey's going to get the ball, but they don't know exactly how he's going to get the ball. Is he going to run it or is he going to catch it in the air? And you see he had touchdowns catching the ball today. I mean, if they shut him down one way, he's able to do it in another way if he's running or catching, man. So salute to McCaffrey. Brock Purdy didn't have his best game. You know, I got to give a little bit of love, a little shout out to the Eagles and their defense. Quinyon Mitchell's a thorn on my side every time he plays the Commanders. He did pick off Brock Purdy when he was trying to throw it was a tight end. I can't remember. I think it was Jake Tungus at this point. Kind of underthrew him a little bit. He was able to run over it, and Quinyon Mitchell was able to pick the ball off. But still, man, the Niners were able to, you know, roll with the punches whenever, you know, the Eagles were able to, like, score a touchdown or make a big play. 49ers kept themselves in the game, man. I'm just – honestly, I was so happy – when I almost went outside and ran a mile, I had so much energy, and I was so happy about this win, man. Eagles fans, I don't care what y'all say, it's always next year. That's all I gotta say to y'all. But shout out to DeMarcus Robinson. I think he started the game off with a big touchdown. He had a big reception to start the game. That first drive for the 49ers, and it kind of set the tone from there. Like, hey, man, we coming in here and we mean business. We coming in here to win. We ain't coming in here just to see what we can do. We coming here to win, take y'all lunch, make y'all go home crying. And that's exactly what the 49ers did, man. They want to continue to win, though. They definitely got to clean up the turnovers. The defense played pretty good for the Niners. I mean, Saquon Barkley did have over 100 yards rushing, but it's Saquon Barkley. The Eagles, you know, aren't too bad with the run game. I know the offense has been up and down. It kind of went down towards the end of the game, but hey, what you going to do? The long term for the Eagles, I'm wondering, like, this is going to be the fifth offensive coordinator that's gone now. So Jalen Hurts is going to have another offensive coordinator coming. He's going to have to learn another new offense. I'm wondering, like, development-wise, how is that, like, messing with him? Because I know a lot of people think he's, like, kind of limited. Maybe, you know, I think Shady McCoy was saying, like, oh, well, you know, the reason why the offense isn't more exotic is because from what I'm hearing, this is Shady McCoy, by the way. From what I'm hearing, is he can't do the more advanced stuff. He has to do only the basic stuff. So, I mean, who knows if that's true or not? All I know is when Jalen Hurts gets on the field, he makes clutch plays. He had a clutch fourth down play to Dallas Goedert where they kept the drive alive. So I don't know, but like you said, AJ Brown let him down, dropped the ball. Devonta Smith let him down. He had a drop. Even the ball was a little high. Devonta Smith had his hands on it. Hey, like I said, our preview shoot for the wild card, the playoff comes. These are where players make their bones at, man. You can either make a legacy or you can break a legacy with these tough games. If you make that catch, AJ Brown, you know, they probably throwing a damn parade for you. I don't know. But same for Devonta Smith, man. You know, game-changing plays like that, game-winning plays, and you don't make them. And then you got AJ Brown after the game. He just leave. He ain't talking to the media or nothing. I think he got fined for that. I'm not too sure. But that ain't a good look. So definitely got to see how that's going to look for the Eagles and their future going forward. But salute to the Niners, man. Thank you. That pretty much made my weekend. That was the only game where I was like, I need if a team has to lose, be the Eagles. I need this team to lose. Thank you, 49ers. I appreciate y'all with all my heart, boy. I tell you that much.
And Marcus Spears said he thinks that AJ Brown will end up playing in Baltimore next year. Hell no.
Nah, yeah. Get him out the NFC East. I don't want him in the NFC East terrorizing the Commanders' cornerbacks anymore. I still ain't forgiving what he did to Emmanuel Forbes, that one play where he sat the ball in his lap after he scored a touchdown on him.
No, I don't want him. All right. The Patriots, man, on to the divisional round after handling the Chargers 16-3, Ed.
Justin Herbert and the offensive line, they need to go to each defender, each defensive player, each defensive coach, each defensive assistant, everybody on defense, shake their hands and apologize, say, I'm sorry because I was terrible. Starting Justin Herbert, man. This is his third playoff game where he's just underperformed. Now, I know you could say, as we saw, the offensive line coach was fired. I didn't have two of my best offensive linemen. The play caller, the offensive coordinator, he got fired. Maybe the play calls weren't good enough. But there's certain plays that you see in a game where Justin Herbert is not him taking a sack because the rush is getting there really fast. It's not, somebody dropping the ball. It's him not making a good enough play. I remember there were plays he missed. There was a play he was on a run. He threw it to, I think it was Lab McConkey. If he would have hit him in stride, it would have been a big play. It would have kept the drive going. But he underthrew him a little bit, and the Patriots defender was able to, make a play on a ball, and that pretty much was like a drive ender right there. It's plays like that, especially when you're like hampered, you're injured. You gotta play perfect, man. And it's the third time so far, this third playoff game for him. He's 0-3. The last game we talk about, Jawan Jennings, him and look it up. Him and Justin Herbert have the same amount of touchdowns in the playoffs. Jawan Jennings is a wide receiver, and I'm not trying to pile on Justin Herbert, but that's the truth, man. Things like this happen from a fan perspective. My point, if I'm a fan of the Chargers, I'm starting to get doubt in my mind about Justin Herbert and his future going forward. And I'm wondering if Harbaugh is thinking the same thing. I'm wondering if the front office and the owner is thinking the same thing. Like, can Justin Herbert be the guy who gets us over the hump? He's able to get us to the playoffs, but when the playoffs come, he turns into a completely different quarterback, whether he's banged up or he just doesn't play well. And, I'm starting to get a lot of doubt in my mind. I know you talked about in the past. You weren't sold on him. You called him out, I think, early. I think you started calling him out last year, and you've been hit the nail on the head with him, man. It's like he gets to the playoffs. He can get to the playoffs if he's not injured, but he gets in these games and he does not play well. I mean, the Patriots defense looked like them early Patriots defense back in the early 2000s. I mean, they was doing whatever they wanted. 6 sacks. I mean, they was doing whatever they needed, whatever they wanted, when they wanted it. It just wasn't enough. Justin Herbert, he definitely got some soul searching to do, my man. I think Harbaugh after the game, he's like, I don't know what we're gonna do, man. He's at a loss. So definitely not a good performance from Justin Herbert and the Chargers. The Patriots, man, I don't want to hate on them. I mean, they beat the team they were supposed to beat, but it's like the way they win games sometimes is like because they didn't score a touchdown until late in the game. And don't get me wrong, I think Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson are great running backs. I think Drake May is doing his thing, but it's not like their offense. Because like I said, Justin Herbert need to shake everybody defensive player. The Chargers defense showed up. It's just the damn offense couldn't put no points on the board. And it wasn't all because of the Patriots defense. I think Justin Herbert just stunk. But the Patriots, I mean, they won this game, but I'm still like, I got to see next week. Now they playing against the Texans. They might do the same type of things against that offense. Because, I mean, CJ Stroud, I'm going to talk about him too. Lord have mercy. But, yeah, man, salute to the Patriots. Justin Herbert, you might need to go to a Manning quarterback academy or something again. You got to get something going, man. I don't know. That's all I got on that game, though. You got any thoughts on this, Brandon?
Man, I love Justin Herbert, y'all. From the standpoint of a prototypical quarterback, 6'6", 236 pounds. When you look at him, we grew up in the era of the Peyton Mannings, the Drew Breeses. I know Drew was a little bit short. The Tom Brady's, man. Big Ben Roethlisberger's. He's those type of guys from his stature. Phillip Rivers, man, when he was with the Chargers, got a cannon for an arm now. But when will folks start holding him accountable for his playoff history? You mentioned it, and I'm glad you did. I forgot about the first playoff game. I'm thinking about last year against the Texans, and I'm thinking about this year. Last year he threw, and I said it several times, I think 3 interceptions all season, and he threw 4 against Houston or vice versa. It was one of those in that, season, the playoffs. And then this game the other day, 25 QBR, 61% completion percentage, 159 yards, 6 sacks, 1 for 10 on third down as an offense. He put the ball on the ground twice and lost it once. Let's be for real, y'all. They put up 3 points, man. Second straight first round exit for them. I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know, because I know Jim Harbaugh said going into this season, I believe last season as well, when he got hired, he was like, and definitely during the middle point of last year, I remember him saying, like, Justin Herbert's like one of the best quarterbacks I ever seen. I'm so happy to be working with him, this and that. He was hyping him up big time. And as you mentioned, regular season looks good. Get to the playoffs with a whole different situation. But back to this game, man, as we expected, both defenses came to play in this one. A combined 11 sacks, combined 3 turnovers, 0 for 5 in the red zone by both teams. But again, the main issue that we thought heading into training camp, when we was doing our season previews, and I believe it was Rashawn Slater went down during training camp or the first game, the offensive line is what doomed the Chargers in the end, along with Justin Herbert's play. So, yeah, not a good look for the Chargers. They definitely got some soul searching to do this offseason. It'll be interesting to see how they move forward in the 2026 later this year.
Yeah, definitely. All right, y'all, before we get going on the rest of the show, this episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD health and wellness company. Check out their line of CBD-infused products, which are a perfect after-workout refuel for athletes, a pain reliever for weekend warriors, and even a natural sports drink for us armchair quarterbacks. Their featured product is CBD-infused honey, which is a personal favorite of mine, as well as tinctures and mint and natural flavors. They are veteran, woman, and minority-owned, so come get some of this sweet hemptation and taste a premium difference. Use code B&E for 15% off your order. Their website is premium.com. And now let's get back to our show. Let's talk about the game last night, Monday Night Football. Had the Manning cast on and everything like that. Texans pretty much put a whooping on the Steelers last night, man. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Thank you to the Houston Texans, man. It started off a little slow. I did get a little nervous there early on, but the first drive or the first scoring drive ended in a field goal. CJ Stroud threw an interception. He also fumbled as well. I watched it until that first Houston touchdown, and then I turned it off. I was confident at that point because, as I mentioned going into that show, I was pretty confident with Houston going into Pittsburgh because we've seen how they played. We've seen how they've been up and down all season long. And and it showed. It was on full display. They talk all this stuff. Oh, we won the AFC North. Uh, we beat y'all in Week 18. I'm a Ravens fan, as y'all know, and you go in there and get the doors blown off y'all there at the end against Houston in the Texans. But I'm going to talk more about Mike Tomlin. I have a terrible towel in my house in Texas. I wish I had it with me here because I would wave it on here and write Tomlin on the other side to honor this man, man. His track record, quote, will never be duplicated. That was the message from the Steelers organization earlier today after he decided to step down after 19 years. Not once did he have a losing record. It was either 500 or above, a total 201 and 126 overall. He's 53 years old. He clinched his 200th career win against the Lions early this year, which was a great game, by the way, as y'all all remember. He tied Chuck Noll, former Steelers coach years ago, for ninth all-time regular season wins with 193 at some point early on, and then against my Ravens in Week 18. Speaking of Chuck Noll, man, not only have the Steelers had 3 head coaches since 1969. This is a world-class organization. The fans, not so much. We talk about them all the time. They don't deserve someone like Mike Tomlin. I'm glad he checked out and got on out of there. But the Rooneys, though, they are a great ownership group. As I mentioned, 3 coaches since 1969. That's unheard of, honestly. They're loyal. They give the coaches what they need. I know the personnel has not been so great lately, and that may have contributed to him, wanting to get on out of there. But, those are, I've mentioned it to you before for sure that, they remind me of my Ravens, of how they operate. Not only are they physical teams, but again, the ownership group really allows their coaches to do what they want to do and stay there for a while. You know what I'm saying? These guys, we see teams that fire coaches after a year now. We see teams that fire their coaches within a year, 2 to 3 years, 3 to 4 years. And we're talking about 19 seasons for him, I believe. Bill Cowher was there for 14 years, if I'm not mistaken. And Chuck Noll, I think it was 24 when I saw the stat early on. Back-to-back Super Bowls for Mike Tomlin, with him winning it in his second season there. 8 division titles, 13 playoff appearances. Yes, they've lost 7 straight playoff games to my liking, but he is a hell of a coach, man. I'll always remember the 2 to 3 matchups against my Ravens, man. Troy Polamalu, situations like this. Troy Polamalu picking off Joe Flacco in his rookie year to clinch their trip to that Super Bowl. Tomlin standing on the field against Jacoby Jones, but he was right up the sideline on that Thanksgiving play that I talked about, I believe it was last week, there at the bank. His kisses after a big victory, beating his chest after last week's game, and he's done that before as well when he beat the Ravens for the AFC North crown last week. Him saying the roots run deep there in the Hard Knocks series last year, the in-season AFC North series. His Tomlinisms, as they call it. This is why I'm compensated. I think he pulled that one out last year, and the one he's saying a lot more recently, the standard is the standard as well. And then just the pictures of him standing next to guys like Big Ben, Troy Polamalu, Cam Hayward, and Joey Porter Sr. over the years, man. Huge part of the Ravens-Steelers rivalry over the years. The reason why it's been as good as it has, and I'm thankful for that for him, man. There's some rude and quite honestly very bad Steelers fans. You could say racist as well. We all know how people are in Western Pennsylvania. They want him gone for years. They've gone as much as, saying fire Tomlin chants there at the stadium. I believe it was against the Bills when they came in there and ran all over them. But to them, I say, y'all don't know how good you got it until he's gone. You better hope the Rooneys, can get a coach that'll be stable again, and it'll be, somewhere near the winning history that Tomlin has had, and even Bill Cowher and Chuck Noll over the years. Pressure's on for sure because, as I mentioned, there's teams that don't hit home on these head coaches, and they're right out the door in a couple of years. So you better hope that y'all get the right guy I honestly hope they get the wrong guy, but for my good and as a Ravens fan in the AFC North, and it's kind of ironic. As y'all know, of course, John Harbaugh got fired last week, um, and then Mike Tomlin decided to walk today. Two of the longest tenured head coaches in the league, of course, 19 years Tomlin, 18 years um, John Harbaugh. Now the longest tenured head coach is Andy Reid out there in Kansas City. But thanks for the memories, Coach Tomlin. Ed, your thoughts on the Steelers Texans game with Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, honestly, you could say CJ Stroud, he might have to go and shake every Texans defender's hand I mean, because the Texans defense pretty much scored more points than the
Yeah.
offense. But the dummy gives CJ Stroud did make some plays. I mean, Christian Kirk had almost the damn best game of his damn career. He had a couple of really good throws to Christian Kirk. He didn't play like Justin Herbert did, like completely ass, but he had a couple plays out there. I'm like, bro, what the hell are you doing? Like that one interception he had in the red zone. I'm like, come on, man, why are you making that throw? Sometimes I really wish he would just take off and run and just get down instead of like trying to extend a play and throw it out there. Just run a little bit. I know he had that concussion earlier in the year. I feel like that's kind of changed his play style, and he's just more focused on being a pocket passer. But if it's not there, man, just run, man. And then he had that fumble where it felt like he was going to try to throw it away, but the Steelers defenders made a play on the ball, knocked it out of his hands. Just like, oh my guys, sometimes it's so frustrating watching CJ Stroud. And then he has these plays. He can step into the pocket when the pocket offensive line can do their job and protect him a little bit. Step up and throw a beautiful ball. He had a couple of beautiful balls to lead Christian Kirk. He had to dive for it and catch it, but it was a beautiful throw. And he has plays like that. And I was like, that's what he can do that a lot if he just, I don't know, man, focus. But to this game, man, this Texans defense, my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. They was on Aaron Rodgers' ass the whole night, man. He wasn't doing no scrambling, running for 8, 9, 10 yards like he did against y'all. No offense, Brandon. But that definitely wasn't happening out there last night, boy. I mean, Steelers, I was kind of nervous too. I was like, okay, DK Metcalf had a couple plays in the first half. He catch the ball, you hear the crowd roaring and all this and that, but it was far and plenty in between, man. Texans pretty much dominated in the second half. And then they were talking about this was pretty much when the game got out of reach and out of hand. Peyton Manning was talking about it. The Steelers, they had a 4th and 13. And Peyton was like, you know what? I think they should go for it. I feel like they should go for it because I just don't know. I don't think they'll be able to get the ball back. They punted the ball away to the Texans, and the Texans pretty much ran out the clock by running the ball. I mean, Woody Marks, 112 yards. Him and Nick Chubb were doing their thing, but that wasn't the final possession. But it was a drive early or mid fourth quarter where they took a lot of time off the clock and they were just running the ball, long drive, running the ball to pass here or there, but pretty much took all the air out the stadium, and that was it. And then Aaron Rodgers' last pass was a pick six. I'm wondering if that's going to be his last pass of his career. I doubt he'll want to come back to the Steelers unless we'll see how that goes. But I don't know. That might be the last time we see Aaron Rodgers. Be kind of tough for him to get out of there. His last pass being a pick six, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes out there in sports, man. But to Tomlin thing, Steelers fans, I hope this is what y'all. I hope you got. This is what y'all wanted. I feel like a lot of y'all wanted him to get fired. That would have been better for y'all. He did it on his own. He stepped down, took it with his dignity and his grace, and got out there like that instead of getting fired, which I feel like a lot of Steelers fans wanted. But I hope this is everything you want. I hope, going forward, Will Howard, whoever the hell the quarterback is, y'all happy with him because I've been hearing a little bit more about it now ever since, Thomas stepped down, how he got a disservice after Big Ben left. He never got a quarterback that was great enough where he can build with him. I mean, and I'm not trying to, kick them all the way down or anything like that. We're just keeping it how it is. Kenny Pickett, the Mason Rudolphs, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. I love Russell Wilson. I mean, all of these guys, they came in. Tom was able to win with him, but you get to the playoffs or the end of the year, and what do you want him to do? I mean, he might have to go out on the field. I talk about all the time. These coaches might got to go out on the field and play, but I mean, he never had that quarterback after Big Ben where they could win important games, and I don't know how you can put all of that on Tomlin and say, "Oh man, we need a new coach." I mean, what the hell What the hell is somebody going to do with Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph? I don't dislike them or anything like that. Everybody saw how they played when they played. So I mean, I'm gonna just leave it at that. Steelers fans, I hope y'all, I hope you're happy. I hope you get whatever y'all want because Tomlin's gone. They saying he's not going to be coaching in 2026. I hope he's on TV the next year. I'd love to see him on the airways talking football, things like that. But yeah, I hope y'all got what y'all wish for, man. Texans, please, y'all got to clean up this offense, man. Get Dalton Schultz the ball too, please. Christian Kirk had a great game. I'm scared. Nico Collins, I think he has a concussion. I'm not sure if he's going to be playing next week because I remember them showing him on a cart and driving off out of the field. So wonder how that's going to go because that's their pretty much best receiver out there. So good win for the Texans. That defense, most importantly, man, I could give their whole damn defense of the week for real. But yeah, man, salute to them. That was a really good performance by the defense. Offense, you got some work to do.
I think the only chance of Aaron Rodgers coming back to Pittsburgh is if they hire someone like Nathaniel Hackett. If they pull off a crazy trade for Matt LaFleur, or they get Mike McCarthy, which is a dark horse. The only reason why I don't think they're going to get Mike McCarthy is because Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin were both 34 when they got hired. Chuck Noll was 37. So they tend to hire those younger defensive guys. All three of those had defensive backgrounds. Of course, the offense seems to, both sides of the ball honestly have issues. But we'll definitely see which way they go. I just don't see. I know I told you McCarthy is from that Pittsburgh area, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it will be interesting to see which way they go for sure. I'll definitely be watching their coaching search as well, being that they're in our division. Let's talk about player awards. Let's give some of them out. Offensive player of the week, Ed. Who you got?
I'm a little biased, but I got to give it to my Michigan man, Colston Loveland, man. 8 catches, 137 yards, man. He's my offensive player of the week, tight end for the Chicago Bears.
I'm going to go Matthew Stafford. Wasn't all pretty for him and his Los Angeles Rams offense, but 304 yards, 3 touchdowns there on the road in Carolina, a place where they had lost earlier this season. They redeemed themselves in the playoffs. Defensive player of the week, Ed.
I honestly want to give it to the whole Texans defense, man. Like I said, they scored more points to the offense, pretty much dominated the Steelers. But if I had to pick one guy, I guess I'll give it to Sheldon Rankins. I love it when the D lineman can score a touchdown. He had 1.5 sacks, got that fumble that Will Anderson forced and ran into the end zone. So Sheldon Rankins is my defender of the week. But the whole damn Texans defense showed up and showed out, man.
I want to go with Cole Bishop, the Bills safety. He had that game-stealing interception you and I both talked about, thanks to the assist by Tre'Davious White. Cole Bishop, special teams player of the week, Ed.
I'll give it to the Bills kicker, Matt Prater. They said he was dealing with an injury before the game. I think it was like a hamstring injury or something. So I was wondering if that would affect him. But, 2 for 2 on field goals, 50 yards as long as in 3 for 3 on this extra point. So Matt Prater is my special teamer of the week.
In a losing effort, I'm going to go with Panthers veteran Isaiah Simmons. Had a huge full-quarter block punt, as I mentioned in our breakdown of that game, led to the touchdown to Coker, which could have been the go-ahead, but they left too much time on the clock for the Rams. They went downfield, hit Parkinson for the touchdown, but a great play on that punt block for Isaiah Simmons, the veteran. Bonehead play or call the weekend.
Trevor Etienne, punt returner for the Carolina Panthers. Goddamn, he fielding the punt. He looking for the ball. Ball bounces off his damn helmet, and he fumbles the ball. Rams are able to recover. I'm just thinking, come on, man. Come on, man. So Trevor Etienne is my bonehead player of the week for that. How about you?
I'm going to stick to that same team. Panthers kicker Ryan Fitzgerald failed to get the ball in the landing zone. Kind of looked like my kicker, Tyler Luke, because he's done that a couple times this year. This time it was just before halftime, set up the Rams at the 40. He owed his defense, though, a thank you because they did tighten up. They didn't give up any points on the drive. Plus, Puka, he had that huge third down drop. He would have walked in for the touchdown. You saw Sean McVay kind of consoling him right before halftime, letting him know, hey, keep your head up. We're going to need you later in the game. But Panthers kicker Ryan Fitzgerald for not getting the ball in the landing zone. I just don't understand how those guys are not able to do that. When last couple of years, they just been kicking it out the back of the end zone, and all of a sudden these guys can't get in the landing zone lately. That's really mind-boggling to me. But yeah. All right. As I mentioned, my Ravens, we had a press conference this afternoon. It was the first public press conference for Steve Bisciotti, our owner, in 2018. He mentioned that he doesn't do these press conferences a lot because, he's kind of that owner that it's like a business owner, you know what I'm saying? He just wants to, with all due respect, he just wants to collect his money. That's not what he said, but that's what I get from him. He wants to let his guys that he hired and he's put into place to do certain things, owner, head coach, head coach, general manager, president of football operations, assistant GM, those guys, let them do their job, and he just come around, as he did mention, when we don't make the playoffs, then he'll speak to the public um, in these type of situations. But I think he's one of the best owners in football. Listening to him talk, he was very real. He was very transparent. He didn't beat around the bush like Eric DeCosta, our general manager, does. He talked about John Harbaugh and the situation of how he decided to fire him. He said he kind of first crossed his mind about 4 weeks ago. It was around the time where we lost to the Bengals and Steelers, back-to-back weeks, I believe it was, and then we blew the lead again against the Patriots. And it just continued to rest on his mind. He spoke about, again, those blown leads over the past several years under the leadership of John Harbaugh, players not playing the same in the playoffs. Talk about Zay Flowers fumbling near the end zone, Mark Andrews dropping the ball. Last year, I believe it was against Buffalo. Lamar Jackson throwing these interceptions and fumbling in the playoffs as well. And then missing the playoffs this year, of course, was the final dagger. He made the decision on his own, he said. Said he was more choked up about this decision to fire John Harbaugh than Harbs was. Said that there was a public report where they said that John Harbaugh was driving on his way home when Steve Bisciotti called him and said he was letting him go. And I was like, oh, that don't sound like Steve Bisciotti, but indeed it was true. He said that he would have felt like a jerk to tell him when he called him and asked him where he was. He said he was driving home, to have him, hey, meet me back at the facility in an hour just to fire him. So he was like, he just went on and did it right then and there. And he was like, how bad he felt. He said that Harbaugh said, you don't owe me anything. He said, you hired me as a special teams guy. You gave me a chance when nobody else did. Special teams coordinators just do not get hired as head coaches on a year-to-year basis. Something basically that nobody else has done. So he's called him his friend on several occasions during the afternoon. And of course, I think I told you this, but a lot of people may not know, John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta actually are neighbors. Have a lot of property, I believe, in Baltimore County, next door to each other. So yeah, that'll be an interesting situation, of course, until Harbaugh decides to take a head coaching position somewhere else. Lamar Jackson, they talked about him a lot. They said that he had talked to him as recent as last night, but along the process, within the last week or so, Lamar said he told, and this was a report as well, that there was issues with Lamar and Todd Monken and Lamar with John Harbaugh. And he said he didn't know where they got those stories from. Those are direct words from Lamar. He said he felt like he had great relationships with them. Even though I don't like Todd Monken, Lamar said he does. Of course, what's done is done. Both of those guys are not going to be back as far as John Harbaugh and Todd Monken. Next head coach, they said they've interviewed about 7 or 8 guys. Of course, the guy I want first is Brian Flores. I think they've interviewed Chris Shula. Anthony Weaver was the only one they mentioned publicly during the press conference. They said they plan to get up to at least 15 to 20 candidates or interviews by Sunday. So at that point, they're going to trim it down to about 5. They'll be holding in-person interviews at that point, and they actually invited Lamar Jackson to those interviews for the finalist round. which is very interesting how these franchise players, these franchise quarterbacks are starting to be more and more involved in not only the free agency process, the draft process, but now even with interviews for head coaching, positions. So he said that he plans up to come up from Florida. He's now at his, down in Florida where he spends his off season. He plans to come up for that whenever they get to that point. So then they asked him, would LJ have a say in the process? And he said a lot of say, but it is no power. He said, I have the power. I care about my players very much, but I can't give them the power. And I understand that as an owner, again, at the end of the day, this is kind of a business. And, Lamar is probably going to play another 10 years or so, whether it's with us. I hope it's not with anybody else, but you probably say you get a good 10 years out of him. And our history of coaches, of course, John Harbaugh, 18 years. Brian Billick was about, I think, in that 11 to 14 year range. By the time Lamar leaves, it'll probably be the time that head coach will be out the door as well. If we get the right guy. But Bisciotti said that he didn't want to be like his partners in the business, hiring a coach every 3 to 4 years, as I mentioned. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to get rid of Harbaugh, because you don't want that type of you don't want to get that guy like Urban Meyer, Nathaniel Hackett, all these teams that have hired coaches and let them go within that short amount of time. And he also said that he's going to stick around as owner for about another 10 years, probably. He said he don't want to be like Jerry Jones and Stephen Ross, and he legit called them out. He was like talking about they're in their 80s and, so they'll basically sell their souls to win a Super Bowl. So that was kind of funny as well. So then, of course, the Tomlin news broke right after the press conference started, right? So I think it was either Jamison Hemsley or Mike Preston, those two local reporters. They mentioned it to him, and his face lit up. And he said, quote, holy shit, wouldn't that be awesome? Only if John Harbaugh takes the Pittsburgh job. Wow, wouldn't that be interesting? I don't know if that thing last week maybe disqualified him from getting the Ravens head coaching job after our kicker missed a kick that let him advance. Good for Mike. He said, yeah, I don't know. Talk to him, as in Eric DaCosta. I love Mike. I've admired Mike for 18 years, and that really shocked me that he did it that way. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. Didn't know that. I'll leave to Eric DaCosta whether or not he wants to interview him. Of course, we would have to trade for him because he's still under contract, but I doubt they're going to go that route. But it was kind of funny the way his face lit up and when he talked about it. And then they briefly touched on free agency and draft, man. They don't plan on being big spenders this year in free agency, as always. Eric DeCosta was like, if we can get a premier pass rusher at our price, we'll go after him. And that's not new to Ravens fans. We just do not spend money like that in free agency. They do plan to address it heavy and often in the draft, as well as the offensive line as well. They mentioned the fact that like a couple years ago, we let go of 3 offensive linemen, and we did pretty well in that transition into the following year. So yeah, it was kind of cool to hear from Steve Bisciotti, get the real truth, not just these rumors that was swirling around about how this whole John Harbaugh thing went down. You always fear when you change head coaches and you have a franchise quarterback that the next guy is going to come in and want their own guy at quarterback. Kind of seems like Lamar is going to be there. In the long run, they also mentioned about getting a contract extension done before April at the latest. He don't want it to drag out in April. He said, like last time, he wants it done by March. And he said he told Lamar because that will kind of hinder our ability in free agency. Again, even though we don't spend a lot of money, but what little bit of money we will have, because he has a huge cap hit coming up this year. I think it's like 20-some million, if not more. It's definitely going to, have a factor on us, have a negative ability on us to possibly sign someone in free agency. So yeah, good to know that Lamar is going to be in on those interviews. They didn't kind of indicate which way they're going to try to go, whether it's special team, offensive, defensive guy. I do, though, sitting back thinking about it, the last couple of days, I was like, I would not be surprised if they go with Anthony Weaver, because you look at a guy like D'Amico Ryans with the Texans and Mike Vrabel with the Patriots, both played for those organizations. Anthony Weaver is the only guy that played for us recently and has some sort of defensive or coordinator type experience, he would be my first choice. I think he's like 4 or 5 on the list, but I would not be surprised they end up going that route. He's still kind of fairly young as well. Played there, drafted in 2002, stayed there, I believe, a good 6 or 8 years. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to see who we end up getting. Now, 9 vacancies. We're competing against all these different teams, 8 different teams. That's more than a fourth of the league, obviously. So, yeah, something to look forward to. It was good hearing from Steve Bisciotti as opposed to, Eric DeCosta. He just beat around the bush with everything. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, crazy. If, like you said, like the owner said, if y'all hire Mike Tomlin, the Steelers hire John Harbaugh, that would be fucking insane. That would
definitely be something.
That. Yeah.
If we did not, we're very we don't give away draft picks much. I think the last time they gave away a high draft pick, which you're gonna have to give if you want Mike Tomlin, was for Roquan Smith. It was a 2nd-round pick, and I remember how hot I was because I was like, I think we went into the following year with only 5. I believe we traded away some other picks as well somewhere along the way, end up with a low amount the next year. But we just do not give away those rounds 1 through 6. We basically do not give away those draft picks, and we get a lot of compensatory picks as well because we usually re-sign our players, but you'll get guys like, for example, let's just say like Isaiah Likely or Charlie Kohler. Those are the 2 and 3 tight ends. I'm not sure that both those guys are going to be back, so they either have expiring contracts or they're a restricted free agent, and I don't know the exact way it works, but you end up getting a compensatory pick back for them. And we do that quite so often. We'll re-sign the guys like Bateman and Kyle Hamilton, of course, Lamar Jackson. Linderbaum's probably going to get re-signed within the next couple of months. They re-signed Travis Jones at the end of the season. We'll re-sign the big name players, but some of those other guys, those second-tier players, will let go, and then we get even more draft picks. So if there wasn't a draft pick involved, I'm pretty sure they would be interviewing. If it was either Steelers fired him or his contract was up altogether, for sure, yeah, they'd probably have him in the door tomorrow. I would not even be surprised. Even if it's just a get back at the Steelers. So, all right, everyone. Another big week of football to look forward to. Divisional round, 2 games Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. Please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search for the B&E Podcast. We also love for you all to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Podcast B&E, and on IG, Instagram at B&E Podcast. Can't wait to talk about the upcoming schedule. We'll be back on Friday for that. Until next time, love one another.
Peace.